Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. Here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Thursday, 24th day of September. Hope you had a very, very meaningful fast. Hope that all the teshuvah, the repentance that you did throughout the day of Yom Kippur, that you're cleansed, and you're good, and you're clean, and now you take to heart everything that you promised and keep to it. That's the way it is supposed to be. Okay, next point. Let's get to the sukkah. When building the sukkah, you know that the schach that's above you on the top of the sukkah has to have several characteristics. It must be stuff that grew from the ground, like branches or something. It must be snipped from the ground, so it can't be tree branches that are still growing. And it can't be makabel tuma, which means it can't be capable of accepting impurity onto itself. So that would mean that if the wood was fashioned into things like hockey sticks or something like that, then you couldn't put a bunch of hockey sticks up there. Even if they are construction pieces of wood fashioned into becoming construction pieces of wood, you shouldn't be using them. They could be wood, just plain wood slats, but nothing fancied up. If you have anything that's kind of developed into too developed, yep, then anything that's, sorry, just talking to other people, anything that's a little bit too developed would be considered a problem, so be careful about that. Best thing to do is to, go to the sukkah stores and buy the stuff that they supply. They have bamboo that's tied into mats. It's a little bit expensive, but that gets the trick done. It's bamboo, grew from the ground, it's been snipped. It hasn't been fashioned into anything that could accept impurity onto itself. It's not a floor mat, it's a schach mat. You cannot necessarily go into Home Depot and just buy a bunch of floor mats, because they've been fashioned into being receptacle type of things, and then they accept tuma, impurity, upon themselves, so you couldn't use them. So let's say you do have your proper stuff. You have just plain wood slats or branches or a bamboo mat or whatever, and they're flapping around a little bit. So you feel like, let me just take the corners of them and nail them to the wood on the side of the sukkah. Well, you see, that wouldn't be good either, because then your schach is staying on your sukkah with something that accepts impurity on itself, which is the nail. So you can't use nails to nail down your schach onto the walls. And if you want to use things that are, string that accepts tuma on itself, we won't get into like what tuma is exactly, but that could be a problem too. So best case scenario for those kind of situations would be to do stuff like to put a heavy beam over the top of it, and that heavy beam will just kind of sit there, and when it sits there, the weight of it will hold the thing down. That's the best way to keep your schach proper. Thanks for logging on. Log on.